And here's the state of the team coming off of, well, what was a disappointing 8-9 record last season. They've gone now 4 straight years without a playoff win. Their over-under is 7.5. That's the lowest in the AFC East and the lowest in at least 20 years. Notable key additions: Bill O'Brien on the offensive staff, receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Gesicki, Christian Gonzalez, the first-round pick at corner. Joe Judge is named assistant head coach, although he's listed with the defensive coaches entering training camp. It's obviously Mac Jones' 3rd season. Jack Jones still facing those charges from the gun arrest at Logan Airport. We'll find out his status this week. You got other guys maybe holding out. Will they be in shape? Will they be ready to go? Veterans again report to camp on Tuesday, and it all starts to come into focus. And we're back with our panel: Greg Bedard, Boston Sports Journal, Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated, and Chris Gasper of the Boston Globe. Greg, am I right to say that it's kind of tenuous entering the year?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're talking a team that's had a losing record 2 of the last 3 years. I mean, they were 8-9 last year, but 7 of their wins came against backup quarterbacks. There's the whole transition on offense, which, you think it will be easy to transition back to Bill O'Brien in this type of offense, but it's still 3rd coordinator in 3 years for Mac Jones. There's usually sort of a ramp-up process for that. So, it's a, I wouldn't say it's a tough time, but yeah, I would say tenuous is the right word.
Well, and I have a tenuous, Bert, because I think there has been a loss of trust inside the building. I mean, I think Belichick, has maybe lost some trust in Mac Jones after violating some personal confidences last year by calling around when things went bad and showing up as coaches. Yeah. Mac Jones, I think, has clearly lost some trust in the power structure around him, the brain trust around him. How couldn't he? There was some horrible decisions last year. I think the owners probably lost some trust in Bill Belichick, et cetera, et cetera. So if things start off poorly, this is what happens. And
the start of the schedule is tough too. I mean, to me, like the indication of how sideways things went last year is, just look at the website and Joe Judge's name is on defense. And the reason why is you can't put him on special teams because that would look bad for Cam McCord, who's effectively been demoted. You can't put him on offense for obvious reasons. So you stash his name, your assistant head coach, into the defensive tab because of everything that happened last year. Like, how sideways is that? This is the New England Patriots. This is a team that's supposed to be the New York Yankees, the Montreal Canadiens, or the Los Angeles Lakers, the Boston Celtics. And they're resorting to these sorts of things a few days before training camp. It's everything you hit on, Mike. Like there's so much sideways about where the team left last season. And I don't know that we got great indications during the spring that all of it's been sorted out.
Okay, so it's led to the point where we wonder if Bill Belichick's actually on the hot seat. Is he on the hot seat entering camp? Should he be on the hot seat?
I mean, I think he's on the hot seat with the fans. I think he's on the hot seat, with some of his own players in terms of what the trust level is there. It's interesting because I think that if Robert Kraft were to apply the Bill Belichick logic, which always has been I'd rather be a year early than a year late, then yeah, he's on the hot seat, wouldn't you say? Here's the thing. This is year 4 of this situation, right? And when you made the decision, the Brady versus Belichick decision, what you're thinking is we're keeping continuity, we're keeping the coach, he has a longer runway there, we have the program, we'll be able to be competitive. In year 4, does it feel like they have any traction in this rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it? And you're also in year 3 of Mac Jones on a rookie contract. Does it feel like you have traction with that in terms of taking it? Nope. Remember, that was what everything Bill wanted. It was the cheat code. It's the cheat code. You have the guy in the rookie contract. That's really what they wanted. So Bill got exactly what he wanted, but it doesn't feel like they have any traction towards being a relevant team again.
That's why I think this year isn't so much about wins and losses. And I know that sounds crazy because this team competed for championships for so long. No one here thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. This year to me is about trajectory. And what direction are they heading in? And after we get out of this season, were they competing for at least a playoff spot? Were they improving as the year went on? Do they have 5 or 10 young players where you're going to say, yeah, that guy's going to be on the team 3 years from now? Because you look at the other teams in the division, right? I mean, the Jets have Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams. Those guys are going to be around in 3 years. You look at the Bills' infrastructure, it's been around for a while now.
Yeah, Josh Allen's
Dolphins, same thing, And so where is the core of the team? It's hard to find it. And the guys who are those sorts of players, do you think Josh Uche is going to turn into Myles Garrett? Mike Owenu is a guard. Kyle Duggar's a hybrid safety. These aren't premium guys at premium positions. So, to me, so much of this year is going to come down to the trajectory of the franchise and where they are coming.
I think it's about Bill getting his mojo back. Because, look, they, as badly as things went last year, before that, they were sort of on the path. Yes, they took a step back after Brady. with Cam Newton or whatever. They got the rookie quarterback in, made the playoffs. That was progress. And then last year was such a complete disaster. It's like, can Bill get back? Can he not only get the offense back on track, but everything, and sort of get the trust of everybody back, just because he had it on path, but then he screwed it up. Can he get it back? But I think you're right about, like, in general, there's just a whole lot of distrust around the Patriots, about Bill putting those players in that position last year. Can he get his mojo back on defense? Can he stop Josh Allen or even attempt to do it? Can he beat a good quarterback? I mean, I think there's a lot to prove, especially for Belichick this year.
All right, how about Mac Jones? What's the state of the quarterback entering camp? This is an interesting thing here. Today, NBC 10's Darren Bathello caught up with one of his new weapons, Juju Smith-Schuster, and asked him if he's had a chance to practice with his new quarterback yet. Here's what he said.
Actually, I did not. He traveled. I went back home. I had 2 short weeks. Went back home, had a wedding, had a football camp, made a new gym for my high school. And, I even did a free gaming camp for kids for like 5 hours. And that was really cool. So, it was a pretty short time, but no, I did not.
So, a wedding. So when he says gaming camp, does he mean video game?
Yeah. He's doing a gaming thing.
Okay, a video game camp.
Yeah.
A wedding.
And Mac was traveling.
So this is kind of like, just another little small thing. It's like, that doesn't feel right. That, this is ostensibly going to be your top target, number one receiver. I know he's replacing Mac Jones' top target. So, I don't know. We're just sort of used to the new receiver comes in. Day one, they're on some high school field working out at Dexter like Brady would do all the time. So what's up with this?
So can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask the panel a question? Do you think, like, if he were playing for Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, do you think he would have found a way to throw with that guy?
He would have been in big trouble if he didn't.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
That's the thing is, like, to me, it's one of two things, Chris, right? It's either, one, he didn't organize it, which is bad.
Meaning Mac Jones didn't.
Mac Jones didn't. Or two, he didn't have the juice to attract guys to it, right?
Yeah, they're both bad.
Well, all right, let's not go crazy with this. We're talking about a guy with a bulky knee. We don't even know whether he's healthy enough to go run routes. And, look, I think the biggest criticism, I'm more worried about Smith-Schuster than I am Mac Jones. This is your highest paid receiver on the team. And you're replacing Jacoby Myers, who was Mac Jones could hit him in his sleep. And this is about the Patriots and Smith-Schuster, not Mac Jones.
Listen,
Smith-Schuster gets the money either way, though, whether he practices with Mac Jones or not.
Josh Allen had the Bills players in California. Deshaun Watson had the Browns players in Miami.
Mark Sanchez used to organize these things.
Yeah, you feel like there should be something there before training camp.
Blame the quarterback, blame the receiver. I don't care. The fact that they're not out there throwing is nope, they should be out there throwing. It's a small, simple thing. Everyone does it on every new team. They get together.
Brady
These
had
guys
all those
did
guys
it.
in Montana this time of year.
It's a bad sign. It's just another. I'm not saying it's the biggest deal ever, Bedard, but it's not a good sign.
Overrated. You guys are overrated. They get together for like 3 days. I didn't make a big deal out of Mac Jones getting people together. No, who was it? Jarrett Stidham getting people together out in California and having pizza. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it now. But it's minor. It's minor when it comes to this team.
Andy Reid gives 2 weeks of his offseason.
Those guys were also in the offense forever.
Mahomes,
they haven't even installed the offense here.
Andy Reid basically gives 2 weeks of his offseason program over to Patrick Mahomes to take the guys to Texas. These things, I think they do matter. I think details matter.
Yeah, because the quarterback can teach the offense. This guy can. He's on his third different system in 3 years.
Greg, on that note, have the Patriots, have Bill Belichick done enough to get the most out of Mac Jones? Are they supporting him or are they leaving him hung out to dry?
You mean a team without any tackles and without a number one wide receiver?
You're being sarcastic.
Yes. No, they haven't come close to doing what's necessary to help a young quarterback. Let's even forget about all the trust that got erased last year. Mac Jones had 2 X-rays in the first 3 games. Probably more X-rays than touchdown passes last year. So, no, they have not done enough. But, we're going to have to see how things go. How does Trent Brown, does he report in shape? What's right tackle look like? They need to get the protection right before they can even worry about running routes and throwing to each other with a pizza party.
Gasper, are they leaving him out to dry?
Yeah, I think they're putting him in a tough spot because they're trying to basically run this thing the way they did with Brady, and they're not building around Mac Jones. as his own entity, which is a young quarterback. You see the young quarterbacks in this league, what you do for him, what you do for a guy like Jalen Hurts, who you're going to open the season with this year in terms of bringing in an A.J. Brown, drafting a Devontae Smith, what has been done in Miami, obviously for Tua with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You get those weapons around those guys. Oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts has the best offensive line in football and weapons. They're still basically saying, we'll coach up the skill position players and we'll ask the quarterback to make the skill position players better. That's not fair to Mac.
I still think this is to me like Miami's the best example, because last year at this time Miami did not know on Tua Tagovailoa, so they went and hired Mike McDaniel. They signed Teron Armstead. They traded for Tyreek Hill in an effort to try to get clarity on Tua Tagovailoa. Like, you still look at all of the issues here, and you could come out of this season without a clear answer on Mac Jones because of all the mitigating circumstances. And if that's where you are, when you got to make a decision on what's going to be like a $25 or $30 million fifth-year option, that's a tough spot to be in.
Okay, hold that thought, Bedard. Well, more on this as it relates to DeAndre Hopkins. They had a chance to surround him with the number one, and they blew it or cheaped out or whatever. We'll get to this coming up, but first, the Patriots kick off training camp this week. NBC Sports Boston will get you ready starting on Tuesday at 6 with Training Camp Central. Tommy Kern and Phil Perry will have the latest from Gillette Stadium each day throughout the week.